It's a prohibition. There's a prohibition that's followed by a positive commandment. And that's the reason why there's no lashes. Now, what does that mean? How is it a prohibition followed by a positive commandment? The Gemara's question was, just to review for everybody, Rabbi Yochanan made a statement. What was Rabbi Yochanan's statement? What do you do? Rabbi Yochanan's statement was that a lo sase, when the Torah tells us don't do something, and it's preceded by a mitzvah to do, that type of violation incurs the lashes penalty, because the correction was not given to address the violation. The mitzvah aseh, the positive commandment, was given independent of the violation. Correct, Mr. Safdie? And that's the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan. If the Torah says don't do something, and then the Torah says, if you do it, I want you to do something else, that's a correction on the violation. And there's no lashes. But if the Torah gives us a mitzvah to do, not addressing the violation, so then that's not called a correction, and there will be lashes. That is what he said. Again, let's make it clear. All right, everybody here what's going on? Good morning, Jaime.
Good morning.
We are on 15a, 4, right column, Hanicha. The Gemara today is going to question something that we said the other day. We said the other day that there's a special pasuk, a special verse that's addressing the situation if a guy raped a woman, married a woman, divorced a woman. To address that violation, when the Torah says, don't divorce this woman that you raped and you married, the Torah says you're not allowed to divorce her. There's a special commandment that the Torah says what you need to do if you divorce her. What do you need to do if you divorce her? You have to take her back. And it was written, the Gemara wanted to say, but the Torah wrote 2 extra words, Kol Yamav, all his days, that he cannot send her, he has to marry her and not send her away all his days, meaning that the Torah is saying, if you divorce this woman that you married after the rape, the Torah itself is telling you what you need to do. The Torah is telling you need to take her back. And because the Torah is directly telling you these words of taking her back, post the violation, that's called a correction. That's the correction the Torah wants and nothing else.
But that's not what's said. That was.
No, but you'll see it's by onus. You look at it's by the case of raping the woman. So now that's why the Gemara wants to say that's why there's no lashes in the case when he divorced her, because the Torah gave a positive commandment to address the violation. And if the Torah gives a positive commandment to direct the violation, there's no lashes. Just like the Torah says, don't steal. And the Torah says, if you steal, return it. So the mitzvah to return it was given to address the violation. And there's no lashes because the Torah is saying this is the punishment. Return it. No lashes. So too the Gemara wants to say, by this case, the punishment for divorcing the woman is to take her back. And the Torah is being specific to address that. So as long as the Torah is addressing that, there's no lashes. If the Torah would not address that, if the Torah would just write, if he rapes her, marry her, and then don't divorce her. And the Torah, when the Torah wrote the mitzvah to marry her, if it did not tell us what do you do, if it did not directly tell us what do you do if you divorced her, then there would be lashes. But here, because the Torah tells us don't send her away all the days, the Torah is telling us what should you do? Remarry her if you divorce her. So the Torah is telling us the solution, directly telling us the solution. The Torah is telling us a solution, therefore there is no lashes in such a case. That's what the Gemara wants to say. But if the Torah would not be giving us a solution post the violation, but give us a mitzvah before the violation, even if that mitzvah would also apply after the violation, there would be lashes. But that mitzvah wasn't given specifically to address the violation. Exactly. That was Rabbi Yochanan's first statement. Correct. Okay, is it clear or not clear? Yes,
That's because, we conclude the-
talk a little louder. Jaime wants to hear you.
I'll make a statement because what the solution, we know this from the Torah. If you have this, if you do this violation, you have to fix this to do this, right?
Right.
So what you do, like if you steal, you have to give it back.
Right, the chiddush is that if you look at the way it's written and presented in the Torah, without this chiddush, you would not have come to that conclusion. You would have said that the case of the rape case is just a mitzvah before the violation. Marry her, and then don't divorce her was written post the mitzvah of marrying her. So you would not know that that the Torah addressed directly if you divorce her. The Gemara came and told us that the extra words, all your days you shouldn't send her away, is addressing if you divorce her, you have to take her back all your days. You can't send her away all your days. Rather, if you divorce her, you need to take her back. So that's a direct response to the violation. So since the Torah is talking directly what you need to do if you violate and divorce this woman, therefore there's no lashes in such a case. But if the Torah would not have told you directly what you do post a violation, the Torah would tell you a mitzvah, a positive commandment before the violation. Even if that positive commandment could also apply post a violation, that's not called a fix, because it wasn't given directly to address the violation. It was given independent before the violation. That's what the Gemara wants to say over here. If you look in the Torah or Hashalem, morning, Nathan. It's not listed over here. If you look at the Rashi, Dr. Naviz, if you look at the Rashi, the headline is the Kashale Ones, 5 lines from the top. Rashi quotes the pasuk. But maybe if you look later on, yeah, you'll look at the Dvarim Chaf Beis, you'll see that there's the pasuk over there. Okay, morning, Nathan. Okay, Nathan's doing the old-fashioned way. Torah Shabbat Peh, the oral Torah, just listening without looking inside, total focus. Okay. So now the Gemara says the following. Now the Gemara is going to introduce this argument in the Gemara about, what did you say? Not yet. Now I'm going to introduce the next point of the Gemara as follows. The next point is that when the Torah tells us, don't do something, and then the Torah says, I want you to fix up what you did. At what point do we say that if you violate the prohibition, at that point, there's an obligation of lashes. At that moment, you violate the prohibition. But the correction, let's say the Torah says, don't steal. There's now on the guy a punishment he now has on his record that he's obligated lashes. But he comes to court, the court says to him, sir, I'm going to have a way out of the lashes. What should you do? Return it. If you don't return it right now, you lose that app, you're going to get lashes. You have a lashes penalty on you. Once you violated the prohibition, even though the Torah says a correction, but the correction is only there to remove the lashes that was incurred, that officially he's supposed to get lashes for this, it's like a parking ticket. The guy was speeding. So it's 4 points on the ticket. But now we're going to give you an option. We'll make a deal with you. You have 4 points. You're supposed to have 4 points, and you're supposed to get a certain fine and whatever. But we're going to make a deal to lower it. So really, there was let's say officially there was 4 points that was supposed to go off your record for driving 95 miles an hour, whatever in that zone. But now I have a way out. But you really have that obligation. Once you violated this thing, you sped. So that's one way, and that's called chemo below chemo. That's called if you like kayem, melechai v'kayom. That if you fulfilled it, if you fulfilled the correction, fine. If you went ahead and and you did something and you corrected it, then you don't get lashes. But if you don't correct it, then there's what? Then there's lashes. Morning, Daniel. Good to see you. Great to see you. Right. Right. So you have to say very good. Excellent. Like Aaron says, if we're ever going to give the guy lashes, there had to be a warning before the violation. Before he stole, we had to say, don't steal. And he went ahead and he stole. And then he violated the warning. He's subject to lashes at that point, but he has a way out from getting the lashes. By what? By correcting it, by giving back. But at this moment, he has on him a fine. He has a punishment of lashes on him. Right. The warning would be he'll get lashes if you violate this. Right. Then there's another opinion. The other opinion is that the only time lashes officially on his record, he has an obligation of lashes, is only not, but when he violates the prohibition, he doesn't have lashes on him now. The punishment is not yet lashes. What is it? It depends, the lashes depend if he nullifies the opportunity to correct the violation. That means when he did the violation, Torah says don't steal. Well, the Torah says, whatever the case the Torah says. If there's some way he does something that he cannot fix and correct the violation, only at that point do lashes kick in. So the case would be, so let's say he gives the case. Let's say a person raped a woman. Rashi gives the case. He raped a woman, and then he married her. Torah says he has to marry her. And then if she wants, and then he divorced her. Now, when he divorces her, at that moment, when he divorces this woman, there's still a correction, the Gemara said. What's the correction? He has a mitzvah to go ahead and marry her again. That's what the Gemara says. That the Torah says you need to correct that violation of divorcing this woman. And how does he correct it? By marrying her again. And at that point, morning Simon. So at the point that he divorced this woman, he does not have lashes on his account yet. When does he have lashes? Then the obligation of lashes kick in. If he does something, let's say he says a vow. He makes a vow, a neder, that this woman cannot have any benefit from him. If he makes such a vow that and let's say he made it in a way that you can't undo the vow. Sometimes we have hatarat nedarim. You can undo the vow. But if he created a vow in such a way that she's not allowed to have benefit from him, so he can't marry her. You can't marry this woman. There's no way you could remarry this woman if you forbade her to have benefit from you. So if you can't remarry her at that moment, now the lashes come to the person. Now the obligation, what did you say? I mean, if a man says, if you say that somebody can't have benefits, if you forbade, let's say if you forbade a person, if you forbade somebody from benefiting from you, that they can't have any pleasure from you. You said that you're forbidden, that there's such a concept that a person could create the same way I could take a piece of food and I could say that this food is forbidden to me. I'm making this food, I'm forbidding it like a offering. I'm making it off limits for me. There's a concept that a person has the ability to create a prohibition for him. Let's say if a person swears, I'm not going to eat this food. He makes an oath. So the Torah says if you make an oath, you're not going to do it. Yeah, you can't break your word. Once you made an oath that you're not going to eat this food, no one should ever make oaths. No one should ever swear. It's a neder. You created a neder and you cannot eat that food. We have a power with our mouth to create responsibilities and obligations upon ourselves. Something that until now I could eat this beautiful piece of cake, but now I have the ability to go ahead and forbade this piece of cake for me. I could forbade that I am not going to have benefit from this cake. I have the ability to say that this piece of cake, let's say, is forbidden to me. You undo it. So many vows I could undo. But sometimes, so the case here is a specific type of case that he did it in a way that there was in a case that he can't. We'll see more in the Gemara Rashi says the Gemara will discuss it more. We'll see more what was the case that he can't undo the vow. But let's say there are cases that a person can't undo the vow. Even the Darim, there's some, when a person wants to undo a neder, it's important to discuss the law with a rabbi to say if it's a type what? If he lies about it and he breaks his vow, there's certain laws, what he needs to do. So the vow, right? A Pesach, right? So we have this phenomenon that a person said that only then does he incur lashes. When? According to the second opinion, that's Rabbi Yochanan. Bitlo, below bitlo. The only time you will incur lashes, when is the obligation on the lashes come to him? When he does something that not at the time of the violation, only when he removes the ability to fix the violation. Is that clear? When he does something to remove the ability to fix the violation, at that point now the violation now is complete. Meaning it's like the obligation of lash is like suspended. It's not yet there yet. It's dependent if he's gonna nullify the opportunity to fix it. But if he does not nullify the opportunity to fix it, he has the opportunity, therefore he's not subject to lashes. That's what the Gemara is gonna say. Now, so what does it have to do with us? So look, I want everyone to look at the Rashi. There's a nice big Rashi here, the last Rashi on the page. All right, Hanicha, and let's not get scared that it's big. Usually there's big ones are not so tough. Okay? Hanicha. Everyone have it? And we're going to try to translate the Rashis. Hanicha, everyone have it? Hanicha, this is good. What we said before, and we're going to see what it's referring to. Hanicha lamandetani bitla v'lo bitla. Whatever we said before would work according to the opinion that says that the lashes are only incurred and obligated only when he nullifies the opportunity to fix up the violation. And until then, he's not obligated lashes. Ella, however, Laman, the opinion that Tani, kaimo velo kaimo, ma'ika lamem. But according to the other opinion that says that it's dependent if he fulfills it or not, which means immediately there's an obligation of lashes, then we have a problem with what we said until now. Now Rashi's going to explain what does this mean, because these words without Rashi's clarifying are difficult to understand. There's going to be a beautiful Rashi, so everyone look at, we're going to speak out we'll say to Rashi. Hadi Amrit, Rashi says, that which we said, Kol Yomav v'Amid v'Hafsakoi. We said that he has his whole life, the guy who divorced this woman, and after he divorced this woman, what did he do? First he raped her, married her, divorced her. Then we say he has an open-ended window to remarry her. And therefore we said that's why it takes off the lashes. We said he takes off the lashes because he has the opportunity to fix this this violation. Because he has opportunity. And you tell him he has opportunity and it's open-ended. He has his whole life to fix it. Kol yamav. But that only works if you say that the obligation of lashes kicks in only when he violates the correction. So if he removes the correction, so as long as he's alive and he doesn't remove the correction, then he has his whole life to go ahead and correct it. Let's say he made a vow and he took away the opportunity to remarry her. But until then, as long as he's married, as long as after he divorced her, he has the opportunity to correct the violation. If he doesn't correct it today, he can say, I'll correct it tomorrow. He has his whole life to correct it. Right. Once he gets married, he's not allowed to marry her. But even that, we're going to see, since he did not, according to this opinion, he did not remove the opportunity to correct it. She marrying someone else, it removed the opportunity to correct it. So he wouldn't incur lashes if that's the case. Only when if he does something to remove the opportunity to correct, only then is there lashes. So if that's the case, yes, Nathan.
Does it with two women. Right? You read two women.
She has to marry both of them. And as Jaime said, it's a life sentence for two women now. Now, not if he rapes two women, he's gonna have a life sentence for two women, right?
He's married.
If she's married,
He still has a
but he wouldn't be able to that allowance because but it says below CL Isha. There's a drasha. It has to be a woman that's fit for him. Warning everybody. Since this woman is not fit for him, he can't marry her because she married another man in between. So if what our Gemara said until now, our Gemara said that the correction, the opportunity to fix up the violation for divorcing the woman that he raped and married, we said that opportunity is for his whole life. That opinion that a person has a right to correct something his whole life, that's only one opinion in the Gemara. There's another opinion that says he doesn't have the opportunity to correct his whole life. He has a very short window to correct. What's the short window? Okay, but the short window is we bring him to court. You did this violation. We say either you marry her or you get the lashes. So that's one opinion. When a guy does a violation and there's a correction, the correction is not open-ended. You don't have a life to correct it. You have to correct it right away when they come to court because there is already lashes on the guy, according to the other opinion. Lashes have occurred by doing the violation. Now, if you correct it, you're off the lashes. You don't correct it this moment, you get the lashes. That's what the court does to the guy. That's one opinion. But our Gemara, but the other opinion is you have, as long as you live, you have an opportunity to correct it. You didn't correct it today. The court's not going to say either correct it today or you're going to get lashes today. No, he could say, I'll correct it tomorrow, correct it next year. And there's no lashes. There's no obligation of lashes until he nullifies, takes away the opportunity to correct the item. When you take away the opportunity to correct it, then lashes will be given. But until then, there is no lashes.
But only when he qualified.
It seems that's one of the only ways that he can nullify the opportunity to marry her. It seems like one of the only ways, we'll see more, is if he forbids her from having any benefits from him. You know, that's why people in a marriage should never say certain things. You know, he should not swear or make a vow. You're not allowed to have any benefit from me. You know, these type of things. They create what? Okay. Someone said that he'll say no more shopping. He'll tell her no more shopping. I don't recommend that, by the way. You have to be careful. Well, you can tell her don't overshop, but don't tell her don't no more shopping. Yes. But we're saying call your mother is you have to take her back throughout your life. You have your whole life to take her back. So you have that as long as you have an opportunity to correct it, and it's an open-ended opportunity to correct it. And as long as you, what did you say? Right, exactly. No, it was one violation. He only gets one set of lashes because he violated the violation. Not Torah says don't divorce this woman. That's one violation. He gets one set of lashes. He doesn't get two sets. Every day he's not, but he's not. It's true. Again, by being inactive and not fulfilling his mitzvah, you don't get lashes for being inactive. You get lashes for doing an active act, an action that was you violated the Torah. You did an action. So this action that he did was he divorced this woman that he raped and he remarried and he married. That's the violation. He was not supposed to divorce her. That was one act. That's called being that's called being inactive. When a person doesn't remarry someone that he's supposed to marry, that means he has a mitzvah to do something. He's violating the mitzvah by being inactive, by not marrying. You know, a person who doesn't get married, chas v'shalom, if a man doesn't get married, he is violating an obligation of the Torah. The Torah tells a person to get married. He's inactively violating the Torah. He's not doing an action. He's not going to get lashes for not getting married, but he violated the Torah. Like many things, when a person is being inactive, you don't do something, you could be doing a sin by being inactive. Person doesn't put on tefillin. There's no lashes. He was inactive. He didn't do an action. He was lazy. He didn't do. There's no lashes for that. There's a serious punishment. God will deal with the guy. Hopefully he'll repent. But there's no lashes for being inactive. So again, he didn't. Let's say he did. No, he didn't. If he did an action, if he married a woman that the Torah says don't marry, then he did an action. That's. So you're saying if he has a mitzvah to divorce her. But again, the question would be also over there. Is that very good? That's the question? Would we say that mitzvah to divorce her would we say that that's a correction? Well, not a correction. How we look at it. But that's a good question. How would you look at that case? But getting back to our point over here, we said in our Gemara he has an open end to correct his sin. An open end to take back this woman that he raped, married, divorced. He has an open end time period to remarry her. And we said because of that, he doesn't get any lashes. That's what we said. Because he has the opportunity to correct for his whole life. But the Gemara says, but that concept that you have opportunity to correct something your whole life only fits according to one opinion. But the other opinion says you don't have opportunity to correct your whole life. So how can we explain Rabbi Yochanan's original opinion? How can we fit him in according to the other rabbi? Meaning he fits what we said before, that he has a correction, he has the whole life to correct this violation of divorcing this woman. That fits according to the opinion that says you have your whole life to correct it. But according to the other opinion, says you don't have your whole life to correct it. So how are we going to explain the Gemara? You're saying we said the other opinion says there's no such thing that you have your whole life to correct it. You come to court, once you violate it, you have to correct it right away. And our Gemara says you have your whole life to correct it, which is against that concept. So that's the Gemara's question. The Gemara's question is, let's make it clear. It's very complicated, everybody. The Gemara's question is, you told me that if he divorces this woman that he raped and he married, and the Torah says don't divorce her, and he divorced her, you told me he has the opportunity to correct it his whole life. That concept that you have an open-end opportunity is only like one opinion when it comes to fixing up a violation. The other opinion says you don't have your whole life to fix it. So how could this Gemara work according to the other opinion? That's what the Gemara is asking. It works according to one opinion, but it doesn't work according to the other opinion. So that's the Gemara's question. Now look in the language in the Gemara. Hanicha, 2 lines from the bottom on test 15a. Hanicha, this is good. What we said until now works. Lamandi ama bitlo velo bitlo. According to the opinion that says that you have open-ended time to correct something, you have your whole life to correct it, and there's no lashes your whole life. As long as you don't nullify the opportunity to correct it, you do not get any lashes. Then it fits in what we said before, that he has his whole life to take her back. But according to the opinion that says that if you fulfill the correction right away, you don't get lashes. But if you don't fulfill it right away, how do we explain Rabbi Yochanan? We can't explain Rabbi Yochanan that he has the whole life to correct it if the other opinion says you don't have the whole life to correct it. So that's the Gemara's question. You told me that when you violate a prohibition, the Torah says don't do something. You told me that you have the whole life to correct this prohibition. And that's why it's called a prohibition followed by a correction. And when the Torah tells you don't do something and it gives you a correction, you don't get lashes. And you tell me that the correction is his whole life. But that only works according to one rabbi. The other rabbi says you don't have that whole life to do it.
Rabbi, that opinion is difficult for the woman. If you think about it, she has to wait her whole life to be corrected, so to speak. And he could say, okay, I'll wait till I'm 97 and I'll avoid lashes and I'll just marry her at the end of days.
Right, that's a good point. It could, the question would be, there's such a thing that that the courts, when the courts have power, they would force somebody to do what the mitzvot say. They would force somebody to do things that they need to do. So the question would be, would they force this man? Would they push him? Maybe they wouldn't, maybe he's not going to get lashes if he says he's not going to do it right away. But the question would be, would the court, I would think because of your point, that the woman shouldn't be in limbo, that the court will have to go in and talk to the guy and get the guy to.
If she was raped, why does she have to wait till he's 97? Why does he have the opportunity to delay it all those years?
Yes, I'm saying most probably the court is going to push him to make a move, to make a move.
Push him is to threaten him with lashes. Get lashes now or correct the problem.
Listen, she also could say she doesn't want. She doesn't have to, even though she has a way to say, I don't want to marry him. So it could be, Jaime, in your case, if she says, if he's delaying so much, she's going to say, I'm not waiting for this guy. Yes. So according to the opinion that says the only time the lashes are incurred if he does an action to remove the opportunity to correct it. If she was the one who did the action, so that opinion would not give lashes. Because so that would work according to right. That would work. That which we said if he died, that would only work according to the other opinion of Kaimo. She doesn't have to marry him. She could say I don't want to marry this guy. It's just that the Torah said if a guy raped a woman, let's say the guy's crazy about this woman, and he raped her, and now she's no longer a virgin, and now she feels very stuck. So the Torah says he has a mitzvah, the man has a mitzvah to marry if she wants. Let's say they were dating and he didn't control himself, a terrible thing. Technically, he has a mitzvah. If she wants to marry him, he has a mitzvah. What? But if they're dating, and he forces her, that's rape.
So he didn't force
No, he didn't force that. That's different laws. That's called mafuteh. That's other laws of persuading. There are other laws about that. Rape is she didn't consent to it. He forced her. That's rape. Forced. But that's with consent. That's not a mamzer. She wasn't married to someone else. There's another parasha in the Torah about someone seduces a woman. That's another area. Okay. So let's see the Gemara. So the Gemara says, now we're turning the page on 15b. So the Gemara says, Mi dehu taima. First of all, I want to say all the people that joined, you came into a very complicated Gemara. So I want to just tell you guys, if you feel that it's a little bit, not so simple, so don't worry. Yeah, it's understandable. But hopefully next time, the more you come into heavy stuff, you'll break in more. All right. It's like the guy who started to drive a car. The first time you drove a car, it's not so simple. But then after you break in, you'll. Okay. So the Gemara says, "Mi dehu taima." This that we've said, we're trying to figure out. We're trying to explain Rabbi Yochanan. Mi dehu taima el Rabbi Yochanan. Who needed this pasuk? Who was the one who needed to say that you have a correction all the days to fix up the violation? That was Rabbi Yochanan, because Rabbi Yochanan had said that a violation that's preceded by an obligation, a mitzvah that came not as a result of a violation, the mitzvah came independent of the violation. Rabbi Yochanan says that mitzvah does not take off the lashes. And then you were bothered by a question, why if the guy raped the woman, where there's a mitzvah to marry her before he divorces her, why does that take off the lashes if the mitzvah to marry this woman came before the violation? And Rabbi Yochanan, and we needed to explain that the reason why there's no lashes is because the Torah itself gave a opportunity to correct this thing. The Torah told us what to do if he divorces this woman. And therefore, by telling us that, by answering that, That's why there's no lashes there, because the Torah tells us the formula how to correct it. This idea that we needed to say that answer was needed for Rabbi Yochanan. And Rabbi Yochanan follows the opinion that the only time he gets lashes is when he nullifies the opportunity to correct it. If he doesn't nullify the opportunity to correct it, he doesn't get lashes. So what the Gemara in essence is saying, we had a question that the answer that the Gemara gave only works according to one opinion. What will we do according to the other opinion? So the Gemara now is saying the rabbi who we needed to say this answer for is of that opinion that says that it's open-ended. So you don't have to worry about what did the other rabbi do? How do we explain the Gemara according to the other opinion? We're coming to explain Rabbi Yochanan. We're coming to explain his reasoning. And Rabbi Yochanan goes on record, and he's on record, and he says that it's open-ended. You have your whole life to correct it. And therefore, it fits in our answer. Our Gemara said you have the whole life to correct this thing, to remarry her. Rabbi Yochanan is the one who says, in general, when the Torah says don't do something, the Torah gives a correction, you have your whole life to correct it. So therefore, we have no question. You're going to say, well, what do we do according to the other rabbi? We're not interested in the other rabbi's opinion because we're trying to explain Rabbi Yochanan's opinion. And Rabbi Yochanan is the one who says it's open-ended, and that's how we explain the Gemara. Since we explained the Gemara according to Rabbi Yochanan that you have an open end to correct it, and therefore there's no lashes, so we're not going to ask, what did we do according to the other rabbi who says it's not open-ended? Rabbi Yochanan holds himself, it is open-ended. Since Rabbi Yochanan himself says it's open-ended, therefore there's no lashes. Morning, Mike. Good to see you.
Morning, everybody.
So that's what the Gemara says. The Gemara says, El Rabbi Yochanan, ha'amar le Rabbi Yochanan Latana. Rabbi Yochanan tells the Tana, Tani bitlo chayav. The only time he gets lashes is only if he knocks out the opportunity to correct it. But as long as he's alive, there's opportunity to correct it. There's no lashes, and therefore it makes sense what the Gemara said before. He has the whole life to take her back. Okay, to be continued tomorrow. Very complicated, everybody. You gotta think it over. Tomorrow we're going to do. It looks like what do most people? We have a few people that are indicating 6:45 our regular time. It's Rosh Chodesh tomorrow. Question is how many people could be at? It's either 6:45 or 7:45. If you want to send to the group and we can figure it out. The other question is because the minyan tomorrow is 7:30 and 8:30. It's Rosh Chodesh tonight. But the question is, do we do 6:45 or do we do 7:45? That is the question. Anyone want to take a vote? Anyone who would like to recommend? What? He could do either one. Mr. Safdie says he wants 6:45. Mr. Haber prefers 6:45. Anybody else want to go on your own? Any preference? 6:45.
What you prefer?
It looks like so far, it looks like we have the 6:45 seems to be popular at the moment. Jaime is 6:45. I don't know about your availability tomorrow morning.
Yes.
6:45 works? Okay. So it looks like 6:45 after, maybe. Okay, maybe we can do that. Okay, so 6:45 tomorrow, everybody. Have a great day, everybody. All the best. And happy Rosh Chodesh tonight. All the best. Take care.